Listen, you've just made a mistake in front of your colleagues and somebody pointed it out. He said, "Oh, it's desert and not dessert. What a childish mistake." How do you respond to this situation? How do you not escalate and handle the situation like a high status? Should you respond to this kind of jokes, or it is better to let them slide? It is very important to understand why do businessmen, politicians, or other high status personalities don't really struggle to handle these types of situations. It is because they are experienced. They do not memorize any specific lines, right? So just imagine some Jeff Bezos rehearsing some lines in order to respond to the questions of the interviewers. No, absolutely not. They have been through these situations many, many times because everyone is experiencing a stress level when it comes to returning a tease or when somebody jokes about you, right? So they do not have it. They are experienced because they've been through these cases many times. But how do we actually handle these moments and not having to actually experience them so often? What is really important here is that we have to understand how to control our stress baseline in order to remain calm and confident when it comes to handling this kind of moments. Our life is very stressed and it is important to cut the overall stress baseline. So just imagine all the things you're doing during the day. Do they contribute to a more mindful and a more confident you? Or do they just suck all of your energy and contribute to the stress, right? So checking emails in the morning, talking on the phone or watching videos while eating, all of this does not contribute to a healthy mind and a lower stress baseline. What we want to do is to actually reduce this stress baseline by eliminating all these bad habits and replacing them with meditation and journaling. Another thing that could dramatically increase your overall mental health is the reducing of worriness. So, how many times have you really wondered about the past problems, about your past action, and you rehearsed many times what should have you done in a specific situation? It all does not contribute to a healthy state of mind. What you really want to do is instead of focusing on a problem, you want to figure a way out for a blueprint for a specific solution. So just ask yourself, how should this case be solved? And if it cannot be solved, if you cannot grasp the situation, if you cannot control it, just stop worrying about it. And when you have a problem, try to figure out a solution instead of wondering and questioning it all the time. So why am I telling you all of these things? Because over time this reduces the likelihood that your stress response will switch on unnecessarily and will hinder your capacity to come up with a great answer whenever you're teased or made fun of. Another very crucial thing which I really explore in this video is our way of breathing, is how do we breathe and why it is important for an overall confidence, not only when it comes to jokes or to teases or how to respond with something intelligent. It improves your overall life. It makes you more confident in your relationships and with your family and friends overall. But how to handle a light situation when you are in your group of friends and somebody just made fun of you, somebody just teased you, and you really want to respond in this friendly way and not to escalate the situation. A great step for this particular moment is my personal example. So I was at this university workshop, and I was presenting the information which I really believed to be appropriate, and I really believed that I was speaking on the topic. It was the case, however, it was not largely accurate. So somebody raises his hand from like the last rows, and with all the colleagues in my room, with all my friends, he just corrects me. He goes like, "Hey Stas, did you know that the information that you're presenting is not particularly accurate," or some things like this? And I was standing in front of this many people, and I really didn't know how to respond. Like, what should I say? Oh, excuse me. I would next time I would just prepare myself better, and so on and so forth. But it sounds like an excuse. What I really did, I amplified this joke, and I said, "Oh, really? I thought Reddit is a reliable source." And you really want to amplify your joke at this point when the situation is friendly and you're in this friendly environment in order to get a laugh and to continue with the task that you're performing in the moment. But the thing which you want to take into this consideration is the tone. So, for example, if you are in this friendly group and somebody says, "Oh, you really know that the information you're presenting is not correct," then in this case, you may say, "Oh, but I thought the information from Reddit is reliable." So what you really want to do is to keep the same tone as the person who made these remarks, because you really want to have the similar tone and to make the other person know that you're either going along with him, you're on this friendly baseline, or this maybe in some way hurtful remarks are taken into your consideration, but you don't want to escalate, so you respond into that specific manner. So here are we coming to the next step. So here are we coming to some moderate, I would say, teasing or moderate remarks when someone makes on you. What if somebody just criticizes you, right? So maybe some hurtful, in your opinion, remarks are made about your style, about your actions, and so on and so forth. Here you want to use this very great technique, which I call yes, because it really delimitates your personal boundaries, and it sets a frame which other person may not step in. So here is how it works. When someone just criticizes you and or their vision actually doesn't go along with yours, you may say, "Yeah, I completely agree with your position, I completely understand your thoughts, but I'm doing this specific thing, or I'm actually wearing this specific cloth because," and you just frame it in your way, in your vision. Framing it as something personal will tremendously help when it comes to direct hostility, and it will just soften the overall situation. Another very great technique is actually not going along with the person's initial remark. So, for example, if somebody just offends you and he says you are this way or you are this way and you should be this way, then what you want to do is to just not share their position. It's something like ignoring the person. So, for example, you get this hurtful remark. You could say, "Yeah, I understand your thoughts, but I don't share your vision, and I don't share these remarks which you made about me." This specific technique just tremendously helps when it comes to avoiding hostility. It really delimitates your boundaries, and it sets a clear ground for a person to avoid such kind of remarks, and it feels like you just ignored the other person because you don't share their opinion and you just move forward. So here we are in front of what most people think the hardest situation to deal with. Here we are talking about offensive jokes, as you can see, for example, in this video clip.
Look at you. First of all, you smell good, which is surprising.
Why is that surprising?
I don't know. I just wouldn't think of a guy who would have a nice scent on, and it
That's
seems
such a, like, I'm gonna really work hard to not take that as a shot. You know what I mean? Like...
How do you really respond to this deliberately made and offensive statements in your address, especially when you are in front of your friends or in a more sophisticated environment, such as the corporate office and so on and so forth? First of all, what you want to realize is that your stress levels rise higher than ever, and we are not speaking about a light tease, we're speaking about some offenses made in your address. What you want to do during this step is to cool yourself down, because just imagine you hot-headed making a return statement or a return offense. It will not be perceived as effective, and it will not contribute to your actual high status resolution when it comes to this situation. So first of all, you want to take a pause, you want to cool yourself down, because when you are hot-headed, you enter this fight or flight mode, and it does not contribute to a high status resolution of this uncomfortable situation. You want to be cool, you want to become assertive. This will allow you to take the best decision which you could possibly come up with. And you should really ask yourself, should I respond now, or should I get some time to refresh and think about my move? But if you can't think about the next move, and you have to come with an action, then the most important thing is that you don't want to respond with a joke. It is an offense, it is not a joke. You don't want to laugh it off. You want to set specific boundaries and let other people know that they can't be crossed. So for example, when somebody makes a statement, you must say, I'm sorry, but when you are telling X, Y, and Z, I don't feel comfortable. And tell people that, say that you have boundaries and limit your boundaries, and make people know that if they step over it, some consequences will happen. But we're not talking about some violent consequences. It is the best case scenario to just simply leave, to leave the environment which makes you uncomfortable. You don't have to stand there, and you actually will be perceived as someone more respected, because you do the thing you want, you actually take action, and it will really have an effect upon the minds of other people, and they will lose you next time. They will not make this kind of jokes. But what happens when someone just accidentally or maybe deliberately makes this hurtful remark again? You really want to remind him repeatedly that you don't like your boundaries to be crossed in front of your colleagues, or you may pull him aside. It is best done during some cool moments, during some leisure time, or during a pause, and you want to speak with this person one-on-one and to tell him to stop doing this kind of actions because they made you feel XYZ. If you want to explore how to increase your confidence and how to contribute to the best outcome of speaking in this situation, then check out this video in which I dive deep into how to speak confident and how to sound more engaging and sure.